Alright, welcome back to my YouTube channel. For this video, I want to teach 3 arpeggios that I use while I'm playing. And these arpeggios may seem hard or difficult to do, but really they're not that hard. They're actually simple to memorize, and all it takes is a little bit of practice to get the correct fingerings while playing them so that they're easy to play. So an arpeggio is basically a set of repeated notes. For example, the first one that I'm going to teach is this one. So as you can see, the 4 notes that I'm using for this arpeggio, I am in C major. And the 4 notes that I'm using are D, E, G, and C. Or the 2nd, the 3rd, the 5th, and the 1st or the 8th. And there's 2 ways that you can do it. You can either use one hand, right? And just so that you guys can keep it in mind, it's best to use the sustain pedal to give it that effect of like a continuous pattern. All right, so there's 2 ways to do it. You can use one hand. For if you're just going to use the right hand, I usually do my thumb on the 2nd, my index finger on the 3rd, my middle finger on the 5th, and my pinky on the 8th. And then I just repeat across the piano. But before doing that, there's one technique that I had to get down before being able to do it as cleanly as possible. And it's that when we are playing this arpeggio, or even while we're playing like the C major scale, right? Something that we have to keep in mind is once we finish playing this first note, we need to start moving that thumb under the hand so that it's ready to play the next note in the following octave. As you can see. Same as I said with the major scale. When we're doing the major scale, we don't want to do this. We don't want to move our whole hand. And that same technique applies to doing arpeggios. Once we're off that thumb, we should begin moving it under the hand so that we can continue in a fluid motion, right? So once we do the arpeggio, that thumb is getting ready to move to the next octave. Now, another way that we can do this same arpeggio is using 2 hands, right? And what I like to do is I just play my left hand on the 2 or on D, and then I just play the chord or the remaining notes E, G, and C, and I can just use my left finger to finish off, right? And once we practice it, it's actually pretty easy to do, because once we press it, we can start looking at the next note that the left hand is going to play. And it's just a matter of repetition. And we can do it on any chord. And this arpeggio is very useful for like the end of a song, right? So we're playing something like that. All right, so we're back on C major. A second arpeggio that I like to use is simply playing all of the inversions throughout the entire piano. All right, so if we start on C major, let's start on the 2nd inversion. And what I do is I play the chord, I play the octave, and then I move to the next inversion. So I play this one, then I move to the next inversion, which would start on the 3rd, and I continue to do the same thing. This one's a little bit harder because the shapes of the chords change a lot, all right? But this arpeggio also serves as a practice material to like better our dexterity on our hands, all right? And if you're up to it, you can do it backwards. I don't think I'm there yet, though. Yeah, I'm not there yet. But yeah, you can You can use that arpeggio the same way at the end of a song or while playing different chords. A different variation for the same arpeggio would be just to play the inversion that you want to choose and then just repeat it throughout the piano. For example, second inversion with its octave, we just repeat it. Using that same technique of getting the thumb ready to play the next note. Also, this same arpeggio can be used not necessarily with a chord in this like root position or like the root chord. We can also do different voicings of a chord. For example, a G sus. It's all a matter of repeating the notes, all right? Alright, so the third arpeggio that I want to teach has to do with the pentatonic scale. It's a common arpeggio used mostly in like jazz or gospel. And the pentatonic scale, real quick, if you know the number system, if we look at the C major scale, the number system would be applying a number to each of the notes in the scale. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 or 1. So the pentatonic scale, as the name implies, it has 5 notes. And the notes are the first one, the second, the third, the fifth, and the 6th. All right? And these notes can be used in an arpeggio, and they pretty much fit with any chord in that scale. And the way that I use this scale to play an arpeggio, you can either do it from left to right or from right to left. I prefer right to left, and it sounds like this. But the most important thing, as I said before, is the fingers that you use to play each note. The way that I like to remind myself or remember which fingers go on which key is, so for the first note, I play, or for C, I play with my thumb. The second note, I play with my index finger. Third note, I play with my middle finger. Then for the fifth note, I play with my thumb. And the sixth, I play with my index. So it's these 3 and these 2. So as I said before, if I'm starting from the right and going to the left, you can either start with the thumb, but in order to avoid that crossover, we can start with the middle finger on C, for example. But once we get here, we start that pattern using that same technique of crossing over. And if you use a sustain pedal, also, as you saw right there, you can apply your own touch, your own feel to it. You can basically reverse back up, for example. You can go back up, keep going down, return back up. You can make it your own. All right. So as I said, you can do it from the right to left. You can also do it from left to right. And this scale, the pentatonic scale, is really important and is really useful because it matches with different chords. You can do it, for example, we're in C major. You can use the pentatonic scale in C major to play C, but you can also use it to play F. And it matches. And if we look at the screen, we can see that if we play F and we play C, it makes a C major, F major 9 chord. So that sound of the C major pentatonic scale mixed with F major chord, it makes a major 9. Yeah, major 9 chord sound. or you can simply use the F major pentatonic scale. It also fits slightly with the G major. But if we use that same pentatonic scale but for the G major, so G, A, B, D, and E, we can use it to play C major. So for C major, we have both the C major pentatonic scale and the G major pentatonic scale to give it that C major 9 sound. Alright, I hope this video was helpful for you. If you have any questions or any ideas for different tutorials, just leave it in the comments below. Remember to subscribe if you're new, and just leave a like on the video to help me out with this channel. Alright, thank you. God bless.